Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a quick video that is going to bridge the gap between the introduction speeches and your next major speech, which is your informative speech. So first things first, I have graded all of the introductory speeches that I had access to that I was able to grade. So if you do not see a grade for your introduction speech, it either means I was unable to access it or I did not receive a speech from you. So keep an eye out for that. If I was unable to access your speech, you should have an email from me requesting that you resubmit your speech in a format that will allow me to view it. To those of you whose speeches I was able to grade, I just wanted to compliment all of you and let you know how blown away I was and how impressed I was by the quality of the speeches that I saw. I was absolutely ecstatic with how good these speeches were. You blew me away. You should all be very proud of yourselves. So looking forward, the next major speech assignment is going to be the informative speech. So I want to take a little time and talk just a bit about that. So first things first, the informative speech is going to be on any aspect of technology. It could be on anything from technology in the past, looking to the future. It could be an aspect of technology. But I just have a few things I want you to try to keep in mind. Number one is when you are picking your topic, be careful if you're picking a popular topic that you find new and interesting information to share. So if you pick something like Facebook or something like Apple or the iPhone, these are all topics that as a whole we are very familiar with. So if you're going to give a speech on those, make sure you find an interesting way to introduce those topics to us. Also, going back to my other screen here, I want you to make sure that you get your topics posted in the discussion forum ASAP. So the discussion forum I'm referencing is under the informative speech tab. If you go into that lesson plan under the resources, you will see a discussion forum that is labeled informative speech topics. Until your speech topic is posted there, anybody could, in theory, steal your topic because I'm only allowing one person per topic. So if somebody posts on the informative speech topic discussion forum that they're doing a speech on the Facebook app Farmville and that was your plan all along, if they posted it first, they have dibs on it and you're going to have to choose a new topic. So if you're really excited about a topic, I really recommend getting that posted as soon as possible. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention, because this was something we talked about in tab 2, that as a whole we tended to struggle with a little bit, is this part right here, the cited sources portion of your speech. You are required to have 3 sources, one of which cannot be an internet source. I've already received one email, and I just want to set the record straight that covers what cannot be an internet source. So I'm looking for you to find a book or a journal or an article. If you are able to find one online that doesn't require you to cite it as if it is a web page or as if it is online, that is acceptable. If I cannot tell and it's still a credible and accurately cited source and I cannot tell it came from the internet, that is acceptable. But make sure that you're following the MLA or APA or Chicago style works cited format properly. But more specifically, a lot of you were saying in the discussion forum that you didn't know about oral citations of sources in your speech. So I want to go ahead and actually talk about this and show you this. This little handy dandy worksheet is already posted in Angel. It is your best friend. It is something I reference all the time. The first few bullet points are just a little bit of a crash course. I want to stress again, Wikipedia, not a credible source. Beware.com websites, because those are commercial websites, which means that a person is paid for it and can post whatever they want. That doesn't mean you can't use a .com website, but just be aware that it has potential credibility issues. .org sites can be tricky because while those tend to be more credible, they also can skew information or are less strictly monitored, so it increases the likelihood that the information that they are posting is not as accurate as it could be. .edu and .gov are educational and government websites, and those ones are going to be by far the most credible because those are heavily monitored and looked at to make sure that they are as unbiased as they can be. So once you find your citations and you find the information that you want to share, I want to briefly or quickly here go over how to verbally cite that information in your speech. So I'm going to skip past the book one because that one's pretty easy, because you would just say on page 54 of Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code, he states, and then you do the state. That's all you need to do for a verbal citation of that one. An internet source is a lot more tricky. So you need the creator of the website. So see how it says pbs.org? We don't want the .org. We just want it to say, for example, PBS. You also need to have some date on there. The most ideal date is if the website has a last updated date, that is the date you want to use. If you cannot find that, then the next date to look for is the creation of the website, the date that the website or web page was created. If you don't have that information, then your final backup is the access date, which is the date you accessed that web page. So if you can't find the first two, that's your final fallback. You need the name of the web page, which is not an HTML. So that's not the www dot. That is just the title of the web page. And that's the information that you would need for an internet source. So I'm going to walk you through that as if you were going to give a speech on this. So let's say that you're giving a speech on the way that the press covers information at the White House. So you go to whitehouse.gov and you decide you really like this quote here. This morning, the Supreme Court ruled to preserve a critical tool that helps prevent housing discrimination. Let's say that that's the quote you want to go with. So the very first thing you have to do is try to find the author of the webpage. And actually what's nice is it says it right here. David Hudson is the author of this webpage. Then the next thing that you want to try to come up with is the last updated date, which again, this website makes it really easy. It's right there. But let's say that that information wasn't there. Usually what you can do is scroll down to the bottom, and a lot of times if that information exists, it's going to exist somewhere at the bottom of the page. If none of that information existed, then I would have gone with today's date, which was June 25th, 2015, which happens to also just be the last updated date. I got lucky, that information is right there. So if I was going to do this verbal citation, I would need the author, so David Hudson. I would need to make sure I state that. I would need to state the title of the web page, which is not www.whitehouse.gov/blog. It is, however, labeled the White House blog. That would be the title of the web page. The owner of the website would be the White House. So again, it's not whitehouse.gov. So if I was going to do this full citation, it would sound something like this. On the White House website's web page titled The White House Blog, David Hudson stated that this morning the Supreme Court ruled to preserve a critical tool that helps prevent housing discrimination. This information was last updated on June 25th, 2015. That is the entire citation and quote in a nutshell. You can mix and match that a little bit. So if you want to say on the White House blog of the White House webpage, it states, and then the quote, by David Hudson, who updated. What information you put before or after the quote doesn't matter so long as you have all of that information. So the only way that's going to happen, and the only way that's going to be a smooth aspect of your speech, is to practice it until those citations are in there smoothly. But because that information is so specific, and if you mess up any of that information, it becomes plagiarism, I allow you to write out your citations word for word on your note cards. So your intro, your conclusion, and your citations can be word for word because I don't want you to plagiarize. outside of your citations, though, the rest of your body needs to go back to being those keywords or phrases. If you have questions or concerns or can't access some of this information, let me know. Otherwise, good luck with your informative speeches, and I can't wait to hear them.